Hello there, Maverick Currency Traders. This is Rob Reinhold, and it is July 10th, 2024, and we've got a pretty good trading market on our hands. In this session, we're going to go through the news of the day. We're going to take a look at the commodity markets with equity markets hitting all-time highs, and then we're going to score everything from +3 to -3 and look at the strongest and pair them against the weakest for our trades for the next 24 hours.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional Forex and crypto traders. Maverick Currencies is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional Forex and currency trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So we got markets hitting all-time highs in the equities. Overnight, we had the RBNZ come out. They kept the rates steady, but they were dovish in their comments. And now people are looking at a possible rate cut by the RBNZ. This is a surprise for the market, and it really sent the Kiwi headed lower. We already talked about equities at all-time highs. We'll take a look at the charts here. We also had Chairman Powell today giving a second day of testimony. And what he said in his testimony was that there's no reason for the Fed to wait until 2% inflation has been reached before they start cutting rates. The stock market loved that news, and everything went up on that news. Taking a look at the numbers in currencies, the first thing you're going to see is that Kiwi. That is a nasty drop on a really strong risk on today. Remember, the Kiwis usually risk on. It didn't matter today. Really hit it. And that probably weighed a little bit on the Aussie as well, as these two are fairly highly correlated. The pound, which was our favorite trade for the week, it is rocking and rolling, looking really good here. I think the pound still has some legs. And look, the euro went right along with it. The euro has been showing some relative strength as well lately. We didn't get a big sell-off on the yen today. We'll take a look at the yen chart. It looks a little tired to the downside. We want to be getting in on rallies on yen. I like the dollar short a little bit better this week, and the dollar has actually been up a little bit this week. But if you have been playing pound dollar, it's still been a good currency to play. Let's move over to the equities and some of the commodities. You can see everything up about 1% across the board. It was a nice up day in the markets. Cryptos, everything was up 1 to 2% except for Bitcoin. Overall, just a risk-on move across the board. And when we check in on this S&P chart, it is just an absolute clear bull market. And we talked about this when we broke out. And I said, look, yes, people are going to say it happened on low volume. They're going to say it happened on a half day before the 4th of July holiday. I said, I've seen many, many low volume rallies turn into massive rallies. And it wouldn't surprise me if this happened as well. Look, here we are off to the races. We basically have 5 up days. We had a little red candle here, but it still was an up day as we gapped up and sold off a bit. Just a super, super strong market. Yes, we're probably closer to a short-term top than we were back here off this base. But look, there's no reason at all to not be bullish here. This is a +3 market. Tomorrow morning, we've got 2 things you need to watch out for. If you are playing pound, we do get a GDP report. I think with a weak GDP report, the pound probably gets hit, let's call it 0.2, 0.3%. A good report, I think the pound surges 0.5 to 1%. So I love asymmetric risk like this. I love these reports where you can look at it and say, hey, I think there's asymmetric risk. I think if it's bad news, it's not all that bad. If it's good news, it's going to be highly celebrated. I still like the pound quite a bit. We also have CPI. Everything has been going the way of less inflation than expected. I don't think Chairman Powell would have said the comments he said today if he didn't think that this number was going to be at least in line with expectations. So expectations are 0.2%. in the core number, 0.1% in the headline number. All of these numbers, like I said, I don't think he would have said what he said today if he didn't already know that inflation was coming lower here. This is going to affect the dollar. I still like the dollar to the short side. I actually like it better here in the fact that we've had a little bear rally over the last 2 to 3 days. It's been a very mild one, but I'd love to be able to sell into these little rallies on a currency I think is going to go lower on the long term. Other than that, there's really no big news for the rest of the week. So let's go in and take a look at some of the currency charts I think we're going to be trading, score them from +3 to -3, and then we're going to pair up the strong versus the weak and look for actual setups. I want to start with the yen first and just show you that the yen is just falling. It's just every day goes down, and if it doesn't go down, it goes sideways. So it just fall sideways, fall sideways, fall sideways. We're starting to fall again. Look, I do think this is a good entry in the fact that we do have about a 5-day low base here. We had a 2-day low base over here, and it led to some nice selling. We had about a 2 or 3-day low base here. It turned into some selling. Look, at some point, this yen will stop going down, but it's not today. That being said, I've been talking over the past 2 weeks about wanting to get in on these wicks, wanting to get in the short term when the yen is racing higher. So here I am on a 1-hour chart. And these are the moments. These are the moments. So look, bear rallies on yen on a shorter term chart. I think this is telling you your entry points. As you can see here, we just made a new swing low. We've bottomed out. Looks like we're bouncing up. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be expecting this yen to come up to about this area here. Again, this is the yen basket, so I'm not going to talk specific prices. But we'll talk specific prices when we get into some yen crosses. Just a little bit more, and I think it's a great opportunity to look for a short. I personally am way more interested in the dollar. Here you can see a daily chart. We have come down. We've had 1, 2, 3 candles. A nice little bear rally right up to a falling 13 EMA on a daily chart. Red candle here. I am licking my chops. I really like this one. That being said, I'm waiting until the CPI report. Bad CPI report, good CPI report, bad US dollar price action. I think this is a good looking short here, short term. Swiss franc was really on the top of my list for this week. If we go to a daily chart, we had this big fall, and now we're just really basing here. Not even really a bounce, more of just a base. I do like this currency short. But when I take a look at yen and I look at dollar, it just looks better. So I'm going to defer to dollar shorts and yen shorts. And we'll come back to a Swiss franc short later. Here's the daily chart on the euro. Got a nice base, got a nice breakout. Yes, we're going to have a ton of resistance up here. Ton of resistance, but just think, if it can get through this resistance, boy, this euro could have a nice rally all the way up to this last point here. Again, we'll take a look at some euro crosses and talk about specific points. Euro looks pretty good, but look, pound looks best. Pound looks like it's got all the momentum behind it. We have just had a nice breakout from about a 1-month base, 1.5 month base. It has a lot of energy behind it. I think this thing wants to continue. That being said, entry points, same thing. Go to shorter term time frames, get in on pullbacks. Pullbacks are the places to get in here on these little moves here. Okay, 2, 3 candles here. Is that enough of a pullback? Probably not. But a lot of times that's all we get. It's just a few candles and a run. Half position here, half position after GDP. I think that one actually makes some sense here on the pound. I'm going to skip through CAD because CAD is fairly uninteresting here. It's going really nowhere in this little range here. Aussie is the other one that just chugs along, but I want to just really focus on the size of these candles. So the Aussie is going, but it's just not going very fast. There's nothing wrong with that. We just have to accept what it is. Again, base, run, base, run. We're in a little bit of a breakout here. There's no reason not to think that we're going to move higher. We're just not on a rocket ship like the pound. The pound's on a rocket ship here. The Aussie is not. If we check in on Kiwi, Kiwi has done some technical damage here. We were high basing. Everything looked really good for a potential breakout to the upside. Onken and I even talked about that in the currency room last weekend, we talked about, hey, if the Kiwi can get some momentum behind it and the RBNZ doesn't kill it, we thought it could be the best currency for the week. Well, the problem is the RBNZ did kill it, and now we're definitely technically looking more bearish than bullish. Now, that doesn't mean we have to play it. I am not looking to play Kiwi short at all. I'm not looking to play Kiwi short or long. I think there's better plays out there. If we check in on crypto, I'm just going to take a look at the crypto basket here, just to really show you just how truly uninterested I am in crypto. Look, crypto's having a bounce. Yay, it's having a bounce. This bounce, pretty pathetic. And if you take a look at the last bounces we've had, and I've pointed these all out, I said, look, crypto's not bouncing like it wants to make a run. These aren't bounces that want to make a run. These are sick bounces. These are very sick bounces. I have no desire at all to be long cryptos, even in this little bit of a bounce. When we take a look at relative strength and weakness on a velocity score, this is where we are. Pound is looking the strongest. Yen is looking the weakest. Kiwi looking the second weakest. But as I said, I am not looking to play Kiwi. I want to play this dollar. But right now, the dollar is in a bear rally. It is bouncing higher. We don't play these until they actually turn down. Tomorrow's CPI is going to be the thing that turns them lower if it is going to go lower. I like pound number one. I like Aussie number two. I even think euro looks okay. It's just the euro looks okay. I've got two other currencies that look much better, so I'm going to focus on pound and Aussie. Yen, to me, yen is having a little bounce. I love that for an opportunity to get in. So let's take a look at pound and Aussie yen. And also I'm preparing for dollar shorts tomorrow on a potential move lower off of the CPI report. Let's go ahead and take a look at those specific entries on the chart. First up is pound yen, and here you can see the daily chart. It's just looking great. These moves right here are just fantastic moves because look, very, very little opportunity to get stopped out. You can ride these for a long time, especially this run right here. Look beautiful. We had a 4-day base. We are now breaking out. Now look, we do not have as long as a base as we did on this past breakout. And we always say that, bases and breakouts have about the same duration. So we had a duration of month for the base and then about a month for the breakout. We had a base here of 4 days. Look, I think this next breakout is going to be shorter. I don't think it's going to be as long in duration. But I tell you what, I really like this on a breakout to move higher. Let's talk about entries. We've been talking about getting in on these wicks, getting in on these lower wicks. Let's go into a shorter term chart. Just take a look at, okay, short-term pullbacks. We want to be buyers on this. Our next true level of support is not until 207. 207 on pound yen. That is a pretty deep pullback from what it's been giving us. I don't think we get that deep. I think we're going to be somewhere probably around this EMA. So 207.50. 207.50 is going to be the level I'm looking for. If we can get a nice turn right around there, I'm looking to add in half position. And then after the GDP report comes out, if it keeps moving, I will definitely look to add a half position there. This is my number one trade. Be aware though, tonight, Bank of Japan could be active. Remember, we are on Bank of Japan watch for intervention. If they intervene, I would love for them to intervene because that would give an even better entry point. I would love to see them intervene and have the yen have maybe a 1 or 2 day rally. And then I think it's just great for a short again. If we're in it and the intervention happens, we'll get stopped out. That stinks. But look, the yen has been paying off. Anyone who's been short yen has been really profiting. At some point, this trade will be over. But until it's over, let's go ahead and keep riding it. I'm also looking at pound dollar. Of course, pound dollar is greatly dependent on tomorrow's CPI report. But take a look at where we are here. We are at some major resistance here on pound dollar. And if we can break up through that, we've got a whole lot of room to run to the upside. This is my number one play. You can see we're already starting to push through it. We don't know if we're through it yet. Same thing here. I want to be entering off of short-term pullbacks or short-term bases. You can see we've got a really nice short-term base forming here. We've got major news coming out of both pound and dollar here. I'm not looking to get into this one before news, but this is going to be one I'm taking a look at tomorrow morning after the CPI. Really nice high base here. I like this one quite a bit. Now, if you don't want to play pound, then I think it's back to the Aussie. So let's take a look at Aussie yen. Aussie yen on a daily chart just is chugging along. It's just trending. We go from trending a couple days flat, trending a couple days flat. We're now trending again. This will stop at some point, but until it does, we want to be riding it. And again, pullbacks, bases, looking like we're getting a base here. Any deeper pullback, I think that's going to take it to, that's 108.91. So let's call it 10, right below 109. I think this is a beautiful place to watch for a doji, a turn. It goes higher. But you can see these currency crosses are very strong. So a lot of times they don't give you a chance for a deep pullback. Sometimes you're just going to have to buy base breakouts. And that's probably what's going to happen with this one. 109.15. 109.15 is going to be that point on a high base breakout. Look, anywhere in here, if you want to be in this currency cross, it's probably more important just to be long in it than exactly where you get in, whether you get in at 109.10 or 109.15. Who cares? The trade's going to work whether the trend stays in place or not. So Aussie yen looking good as well. I think we are in a good trading market. Not a great trading market, but not a bad one. Over the last month or two, I've been a little bit down on Forex trading, saying, hey, I don't really love it. I think we're in a good market here. I think you would absolutely be active with your trades. And I think that pound GDP and the CPI out of the US is really going to help things continue to move. The big question is, which direction? Is it going to be a continuation or a reversal? Well, you know our stance at Maverick here. We are trend adherents. Most of the time, the trends continue. Yes, every so often they do reverse, but we're definitely looking at this as a continuation. Thanks for joining me. Goodbye, everybody.